They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
I already am like a backwards hat guy and have been for a while, but this specific one, I put it on and I was like, this feels different. Like this feels like I almost felt Kevin Jamesy in like a Kangol or something, even though it's a regular hat. And yeah, I get it. It does feel divorced.
And the room that you're in, you
Yeah.
look like you just got divorced.
It does seem like that. It seems like every time anyone sees me now, I'm in my sister's attic, which I think would be that's a pretty good place for a divorced man to go, you know, staying in his brother-in-law's, you know, shed or attic or whatever. But no, me and Amber are great. I would actually say that me and Amber, and this is surprising, ever since I moved my home office from my home to my sister's attic, me and Amber have been doing better than we've ever been doing. Like we love each other so much. You know what I mean?
You got pre-divorced and it prevented a divorce.
That's right. That's the key to to not getting divorced is act divorce, like microdose divorce, you know, and you won't actually get it.
Andy and I haven't slept in the same bed since like month 6 of her pregnancy.
Me and Amber
we're pre-divorced.
Well, me and Amber haven't either, but it's not my fault anymore. Well, it is my fault. So kind of. So before it was, I couldn't sleep. I have to sleep with the TV on. I have to. And that don't then. And I get that I'm in the minority there. Like most people don't like that, but I have to. And Amber never did. And I was like, well, it's literally the only way I can fall asleep. And then after a while, she was like, you know what? I think I could get used to it because I'd rather you just be in the bed. And she did get used to it and it was fine. But then, I don't know how y'all are, I can't, well, this don't really apply to Trae because Trae can always sleep. So maybe this is just for Drew. Whenever I can't sleep, if I'm in the bed with someone and not able to sleep, I'm way more depressed about it than I am if I'm alone in a bed and can't sleep. So I would always get up and leave. You know, I was like, God dang, if I'm going to be awake, I'm at least going to, you know, just, I can't be near someone who's happily sleeping. Then I started snoring, so she started leaving. Now I don't snore anymore because I got my allergies halfway fixed out, but she can't sleep for the first time in her life, and she gets depressed, and she goes into our other bedroom. So, yeah, we're pre-divorced.
Yeah, no, yes, all of that makes sense.
Them old-timey couples in the 50s had it figured out, maybe, you know. They used to sleep in
there's
studies
on that. There's studies on that
also the women wasn't allowed to have opinions and he could, you know, do whatever he wanted and all that stuff. So I'm sure
divorce was literally illegal.
She had to keep the goddamn house clean and stay under 145 pounds and all that stuff by law. So all that helped. But
the whole divorce rate. The whole divorce rate, and they're called the divorce rate in the 50s versus today. It's like, that's like the autism rate today versus then. They didn't test for it. You know what I mean? Like you weren't allowed to get a divorce unless the goddamn archdiocese determined that you could or whatever the fuck. But me and Amber
man wanted to, and then he went and told the people at the crazy house that you had the vapors and they arrested you.
Yeah, though the man could get whatever he wanted, but the woman couldn't just leave. Me and Amber actually, we stayed in a hotel in Gatlinburg, and the only thing they had was 2 queen beds instead of a king. And like we require a California king in order to sleep together, and we both slept on separate beds. And I swear to God, she said just basically what Trae said. She said, "I'm telling you what, Lucy and Ricky had it figured out." She's
Dude,
like,
I'm telling you, there's studies that couples who end up sleeping in different beds are healthier.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you're mentally healthy, like you're going to do better in your marriage.
Absolutely.
Well, I've wallered my side of our bed just smooth out. It's just like a pit on my side. And now it's starting to hurt my old dumb back. And like Katie's side hits just fine. And I don't ever like, I guess it's just from being poor, trash, or whatever, but it's like I'll just suffer like small miseries like that for just ever instead of just like addressing it. Like I definitely could just buy a new bed, but it's like a bed, forget a bed. Like I went weeks because, you know, I've been in the kitchen cooking stuff, whatever, and I like sauces. Drew, I know you appreciate sauces. Went weeks complaining to Katie about how like we ain't got no goddamn ramekins. Like we used to have, we ain't got nothing to put sauce. We used to have, and then you fucking did whatever with them, and now they're gone. And I just did that. I say weeks, probably months. And then finally one day, like out of the clear blue sky, I was like, I guess I could just get some.
Yeah.
And I got on Amazon and ordered
say
some
you can just
ramekins
do
for like
that.
$7.50, like
They're
a whole
not
set of
much.
them with lids and everything. So you could keep them in the fridge afterwards, whatever. And they came the next day and it's been a non-issue ever since. And it's like, but a bed is even though you could do the same thing with a bed, a
Yeah,
bed
still,
is still
though.
a bigger
Do you
deal.
like your bed?
I'm just going to hurt every morning for a while. Yeah, well, I did. I loved it, but now
You can just order that bed. That's what's simple about a bed.
right.
And I did a version of what you're talking about. The bed Andy and I got when we got married was my favorite beds. It's right here in this room at my mother-in-law's, where I'm currently recording from. It has been here since the first time we left. Maybe since we got back from Florida. I don't know. We moved at least twice since then, and I didn't take it with me. And I kept being like, man, that bed ruled. I think I got a more expensive one the next time, and it wasn't as good. And then finally I was like, oh, I'll go find the order and order the literal bed. Like, it just didn't occur to me to do that. And then I did that. And guess what? Now I have 2 hidden mattresses available to me at all times.
Dude, I'm so glad y'all are bringing this up
I
because
sleep on neither of them, by the way. I'm in a floor on one that I bought for an RV for $80.
it has only just recently occurred to me that, like, when I buy something that hits, if I bought it from a website, especially if I had to put in my name and stuff, like, I can just go back and see. Because I too have just been like, oh, I got this thing that hits. I'd like another one. What are the odds I'll find it again, though?
Yeah.
I mean, what are the odds?
Wish I could figure that out.
Who could ever do that? Yeah, with my bed, man, it was one of the first things I bought when we started hitting, because I had no furnishings in, like, my house at all. Like, y'all stayed at my grandma's house. I had like a tiny little mattress on the floor. The couch had cigarette holes in it and stuff. So, like, when we first hit, I like had to, and I wasn't married, so I never had no housewarming or, shower or whatever. So I just had to fund my whole, like, all right, create a life here. And the bed I got was a California King, which was like $5,000. And I paid for that motherfucker in cash. And I do even remember then, even though I was like, I hit and I'm never going to run out of money, I remember thinking, $5,000? Shit, this the bed I'm dying in. I'll tell you that much right motherfucking now. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that.
Yeah, there's like an old Papaw saying, I think. I say old Papaw, but I saw it on Reddit and they attributed it to Papaw. So it might be a different, like, genre of Papaw, like a Midwestern Papaw or something. But it's like 3 things you never skimp on anything that separates you from the ground.
Yeah.
So, like,
Car.
shoes, tires,
Yeah.
a bed, anything like that. And I feel like it does kind of, it's a maxim that sort of.
Oh, that's a good Papawism. I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I also understand and am not stupid enough to know that, like, some people just can't do that. And that's unfortunate. But if you can, then you should. Like, Amber pisses me off because she can't. Like, she can get a nice pair of shoes, but what she'll do is she'll go to Target and get some $10, $12 knockoff version of the thing she wants. And then literally 3 months later, the heel will pop off and she'll have to get another one. I was like, baby, we're not like some of your friends that you talk with, no offense, but, like, you could get the nice ones if you want them. And if you take all the money that you spent on shoes this whole year, it's more than if you just got that one pair of shoe and you spent all year replicating that one pair of shoe, and she just can't get it through her head.
I was with our buddy Brent Terhune and Indy recently. Me, him, and Donnie were going to see The Naked Gun, but on the way there, he had a blowout. Yes, movie rules. But Brent had his tire blew out on the way to the movie theater.
I definitely thought you meant diarrhea because it was Brent.
No, his tire blew out, and me and Donnie, and he didn't have a spare on him because I guess it had happened too recently. He didn't have a spare, whatever. And me and Donnie just went to the movie without him, which he was totally on board with. We very much offered not to do that.
First, I left my car and went.
I was like, do you have a spare? We'll change it right now. We got time, whatever. Do you want us to, whatever, and he was like, please do not go because of this, because it's stupid. So we went without it, but I was telling Donnie, he was like, can you change the tire? And I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, I had so many tire woes when I was younger. And I was like, because I was like, hilariously, but again, poor white trash shit. I was like, I used to buy, like, used tires. Like, there was a guy, the guy in Salina that was the tire man, and he sold used tire. When I need a new tire, I'd buy a used tire because it was cheap. And then lo and behold, less than 2 weeks later, I'd be like, God damn, I got another flatter. This one's got a slow. And it was just all
the time.
It's expensive to be poor.
Perpetual
tire problems my whole, like, early adolescence. And it was like, yeah, well, I was buying, what kind of lunatic, except, buys used tires, but when you be poor and shit, what, you just do, because what else are you going to do? But it's like, of course it fucks you. And of course it's bad and makes things worse all around.
Because it's not like someone gets rid of tires that are good.
Exactly. Right. It's one of the worst used things you could possibly buy. I think.
Walmart tires are fine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But
no, they are. You know the gimmick on why they're so cheap, right?
Because they get them from China?
No. They are, from what I've heard, there is no difference. Like they are so cheap, but there's actually no difference in those tires than if you go to another tire shop. It's just that Walmart knows if you're coming here to get tires, you have to walk through everything else to get to the tires. So they want you to be like, oh, that's the cheapest tires in town, because they know that you're going to walk out of there with $400 worth of other shit. That's
another way that I am so papaw, I'm exceptional.
Yeah,
that's I call that
a law. Do none of that.
They call that a loss leader, but it's like, I kind of feel like that's just Walmart, because that's grocery store say about rotisserie chickens and stuff.
Right.
I kind of feel like with Walmart, they're just saying that to cover up for the fact that they got actual like slaves on their sub-Saharan Africa,
and they make the tires out of their bones.
Rubber plantation.
That too. I'm saying is I'm not saying that that's not true either. My point is that like I've seen like Mythbusters type people look, the quality of them is they're good tires. Like they're not cheap because they're bad tires. They're cheap because Walmart's doing some fuck shit on it. And again, they know like you're going to get the tires and then go, damn, I need that $300 Yeti cooler, and which it cost them $20 to get. Or
that's really good to know, because I put 4 new ones on the Bronco that were unbelievably cheap. And then I put 2 new ones on the Highlander. You ever do that? You ever do that move?
Done that move?
Like, I've done
one.
Son,
I've done one too. Yeah.
One makes sense because something happened to the one.
Yeah, right.
2, it's like, I need new tires, but put them shittier ones on the front and let them shitty up a little bit.
Well, depending on if your front or rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive, yeah.
Well,
right, exactly,
and my car's all-wheel drive, but also it was pulling. And I also wasn't about to get it completely aligned, because I got it aligned once and it didn't take care of the whole problem. So now I'm thinking, well, I've got a whole front end issue, and I ain't going to deal with that yet, because I'm probably going to sell this Highlander. It'll be someone else's problem. They're going to get it cheap. It's an old car. Then I decided not to sell it. So I just have these, but I finally got my front end aligned, and now I got the shittiest tires on the back, because that's where they go. Yeah. And they're all bald on one half because of the way it was pulling.
Mm-hmm.
You ever had that?
You got to rotate them.
Just rotate them toward the bald part of the good part of the other ones is now on where the bald part of this one's. But
that's what
that's what I mean. You get your tires rotated. It's like put the don't hit on this side where it don't matter if it don't hit.
Yeah, and that's just habit, by the way. Like, that's just who I became in life.
I hear you.
That is not who I need to be.
No, dude, I hear you. There's a lot of shit I still do like that like it really don't make no goddamn sense, but I'm just like, it's easier to keep doing it the dumb way than it is to learn the better way somehow, even though it's not, I don't know.
The whole loss leader thing, like you said, tires at Walmart are in the back. You got to walk past all the other hits to get to them. But like I said, I've also always heard people say that about rotisserie chickens, but they're in the very front, like they always are.
But so you got to get stuff to go with them.
How does that work?
Yeah, like, I mean, there are people that that make up for the statistical, the other stat, which is like there are people that do just go in there to get those. Sure,
dude. I bet there's been twice in the last few months that I've gone in there and got nothing but tires and a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, you win. See, they hate you.
No, I was winning.
Yeah, no, they hate you, dude.
God, I love a rotisserie.
A rotisserie's good, man. Like, man, it changed my fucking life because like I love making chicken salad and all sorts of stuff, and so every time I did that, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go get some breasts, I'm gonna brine them, I'm gonna cook them up or whatever. Now I just get a rotisserie and tear that motherfucker apart, then take the carcass and make broth with it. Oh wait.
Yeah, I texted y'all this, but Katie, like last month, about a month ago, Katie and both the boys got sick at the same time while I was on the road. And so, of course, they're sick. What do? She ordered like what seemed to be a pallet of chicken noodle soup, from Amazon, like just comically too much amount of chicken noodle soup.
Campbell's?
They were Progresso.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She went and
that's a liberal from Spain, right?
Yep.
Yeah. They were sick for like another 2 days after that.
Because they got Progresso, not Campbell's. Campbell's is what heals you.
But either way, we had 25 fucking cans of soup left now, and no one's sick in the house, right? And the way that I always am, it's like I've talked before with like when she bought that Peloton bike, and I was like, you ain't gonna use that. And I started like riding it out of spite.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with this. I was like, what the fuck? What are we gonna do with all this chicken soup? And I was just like eating it angrily. But what I did
it lasts for like 3 years.
Dude, Katie got Trae in shape and eating well by using his spite
against me. Yes, but it works every time. But it does keep a long time. It's taking up fucking space in the pantry, you know. So, but what I did was, I went and got a rotisserie chicken, right? Oh, yeah. And I keep that BTB on me. You know, I keep them things on me. BT better than bouillon, chicken paste. I mean, I keep all the paste. I got the vegetable paste, mushroom paste, beef paste. I got all, but the chicken paste in particular. That and MSG make shit good is what that stands for. BTB, MSG, and some rotisserie chicken meat put in a standard can of chicken noodle soup, such as Progresso or whatever. And suddenly it hits. And so I took those out in that way. So shout out to those 3 products. But that was the last thing last thing that made me grateful for the existence of a readily available rotisserie chicken. But I feel that gratitude multiple times a year, obviously.
I think the problem that some people have is that if they would just look at canned soup or canned meats or any type of those type of ready-made things, if they would look at those as like the starter or step 1 instead of the complete situation, their life would be a lot better. Because like, you know, people make like, man, you got Campbell's cream of chicken soup. I'm like, yeah, because it's all it is a roux. It's just a roux in a can. But what I'm going to do with it afterwards is not going to taste like your mama made you Campbell's cream of chicken soup, because she's just going to follow the regular instructions, right? And Amber will be doing that. Amber will get something from the store, or she'll make a recipe, right? She'll make a recipe. It'll be kind of good, and she'll be eating it, and she's like, it's really good, but like, you know, it could definitely use a little more salt and a little more pepper and a little more, and she'll be saying all this while eating it. And I was like, well, then why didn't you do that? Just do that. And she's like, well, the recipe called for this. And I was like, well, it's not going to explode if you make it hit harder. You know what I mean? But in her brain, like somehow it will. And everybody's like that. They're just like, no, can of chili, just plop can of chili out. And then that's how it's going to taste. It's like, baby, you can, in like less than 30 seconds, make that gourmet. You know what I mean?
That was my dad's entree into like cooking period. And I think that's probably true for a lot of single dads. Like when him and my mom got divorced, and he had us, like he couldn't fucking boil water to begin with. Like classic Southern man of that generation, did not cook shit. And he never turned into fucking, you know, Emerald or nothing. But his journey began, I think, with basically that doctoring up.
Nothing wrong with that.
Ready-made, doctoring up frozen pizzas and doctoring up, you know, chilies and box dinners and stuff like that. And it, you know, it vastly improves those products.
I think with most dishes, that's where my journey ended, really.
When you found out you could do that, you were like, well, fuck it.
Yeah, this is good enough.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm the greatest cook of my generation. Have you tried this frozen pizza I changed?
Right. Well, dude, like it is unbelievable how much just like slathering some Frank's Red Hot sauce on a pizza before you cook it will elevate it, especially to a room full of drunk dudes who are watching Cool Hand Luke for the 19th time. Like, yeah, like you'll have some dudes just being like, ooh wee, you know, over some very simple stuff. But some people just, again, like Amber, and she's getting better actually. Amber, dude, whenever I've said this before, but she was never someone who cooked, and I was fine with that, like because I'm the guy who cooked. And I've actually told her recently, I was like, I'm sort of getting scared because I've always felt like that was a huge thing that I brought to the table, like a pretty big, like, well, at least he cooks. And now when she became a mother, that mother thing flipped, and she loves cooking now, right? And she's gotten very good at it, but she's still like paralyzed by the recipe said this, so I can't do, you know, anything else. And I'm trying to be her good conscience, but like that's why I think we're going to get divorced. Like now, once she finally flips that final switch and realizes like, oh, I don't need him for the true hits, but I don't really do much else that hits. I suck. Look at me.
Yep. Well, here's some things that I know you know that you could tell, like some things that, in my opinion, you can't ever ruin a dish with. It always, like for starters, butter
Butter,
garlic,
MSG,
MSG, garlic. Yeah, like the
onion,
recipes never have an appropriate amount of garlic. It's always
butter.
like common or butter. Right. And it's like, it's been said a million times all over the internet, but it's true. Like you go to like a fancy restaurant, you're like, God damn, why does this hit so much harder? And 9 times out of 10, it's literally just butter. It's just more butter. Like you just wouldn't believe the truly French amount of butter that actual hitting restaurants use that you're not going to do at home because it feels egregious. And it is egregious.
Yeah,
but it's
but
like,
it hits.
that's what makes stuff hit. Yeah, right.
The other thing that I'll add to that's simple, I think, is you can just learn the basis of 1 or 2 hidden cuisines.
Absolutely.
And then understand that those ingredients go together.
Yes.
And just realize that it doesn't matter what you're putting it on or what you're putting it with. These ingredients go together.
Yeah.
And that's actually where my journey ended. Like I can just like, it's
you're
like,
an improv
hey,
artist.
what can you do with this? Well, okay, I can make a Cajun style dish. I can make an Italian style dish. Now, I can make one Cajun style dish. I can make one Italian style dish.
Who cares?
I know what goes together inside those cuisines. And it, to people who don't know shit, it looks like I know what I'm doing. But beyond that, I don't.
Dude,
I
all
actually
you
don't
need
know
is
what I'm doing
like,
beyond that.
all you need is like 3 or 4 things that you do really, really well. And I think you'll have a pretty good life, because I think normally once you learn how to do 3 or 4 things really, really well, it will level up everything else you do. And then next thing you know how to do 10 things really well.
You're talking about doctoring stuff up or whatever. It's like, it just, like you said, it don't take much, just a little. Like I remember like in college and shit, we, hamburger helper all the goddamn time. Right. And I still love hamburger helper, but literally all I would do was like chop up some onion and garlic and saute that in butter and then make the hamburger helper in that, the rest of the way. And like, dude, my roommates and all these dude, 19-year-old stoner bros that didn't cook shit or whatever would always be like, God damn, like fucking what did you do to that? Like
Mama Trae.
Mama Trae, that's literally what they call me, Mama Trae. Like, what is your secret? And it's like, it ain't shit. It's literally the simplest thing in the world.
Make it mirepoix.
Mirepoix. Bebe.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's like with pasta. Like it's unless I'm making cacio de pepe or just a regular fettuccine Alfredo, like where like, there's only so many ingredients. Like pretty much every pasta dish I've ever made has been completely dissimilar. I won't say completely dissimilar, but like I just, like Drew said, all these ingredients that kind of go together. How this dish tastes depends on which amount of each I put in it. And also then, this protein will go here. Maybe I'll do this and I'll just make some pasta and Amber will be like, oh my God, how'd you do this? And I'll be like, baby, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't do it again if I tried because I was just in there in the lab. You know what I mean? Like
never do it again, dude.
Yeah, never.
I made curry the other day and we didn't have any coconut milk. So I used coconut water and cream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you did it. I follow
you
that.
Did it. Might have even been better.
They're fucking up. They got to do it my way, dude.
Yeah, no, that might even be better. Yeah, because I mean, it's the
Mama
cream.
Take lessons from your boy.
Cream boy, I tell you what. I mean, dairy got me in a chokehold, son. And if it didn't, I know that's I get it. But like, I got a friend, it's my sister-in-law actually, and she's always been finer than frog hair. I don't care if she or her husband or nobody hear me say it. She hot as hell, and I love, and she's my favorite, and we love each other. And
wait, hold on. So Amber's sister you're talking about?
No. Amber's sister-in-law. It's my brother. It's my brother-in-law's wife, but like she's my sister-in-law.
Amber's brother's wife.
Yeah,
Amber's brother's wife. Gotcha.
She's also the sweetest. Like people shouldn't. If everybody was like her, we'd have no problems.
Mm-hmm.
But she's had like 3 kids, and then after the third one, like she slimmed down real fucking quick, and she was like, I could tell there was a different pep to her step, and I was like, man, I was like, you feeling good, because she'd been having some stomach issues. She goes, yep. She said, I'm telling you. She said, I could fix you right now, and I was like, what? She goes, Corey, we really just ain't supposed to be having the dairy we do. She's like, I'm telling you. She said she got off dairy and soy, like and all this stuff. She goes, I feel great. No, she said, there's stuff. I didn't realize that food was giving me headaches. I didn't realize that blah, 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 blah. And I swear to God, like she's telling me that thinking like, I've solved it, Corey. I can help you out. And I may as well have been speaking Chinese. I was like, I'm going to give up butter and cream and cheese. Shit, I'll just hurt. You know what I mean? I'll just hurt is what I'll do.
Yeah, for sure. And I know I thought that us whites, had and I know that plenty of white people are still lactose intolerant, but I thought that we had adapted over the years from being like, cultivated in the dark and the cold,
Right.
in the
Like a
sunless,
spore.
the sunless shadows of your gray wind-swept plains of Europe, with all the plagues and shit all over the place. That's where we were forged. That's why we are, so evil. And shit. Yeah.
We're
And milk
just
kept us
boys.
alive.
Yeah, but
While everyone
but
else was living off the fat of the lamb, all
we
we
really
had was
are.
our
That's what I was about to
girlfriend
say.
who was also our milk supply of the cow.
right,
we were
milk
fucking.
literally kept us alive, and we needed milk because we didn't have no sun and shit, and vitamin D or whichever one of the vitamins it is, and all that stuff. So and that was over generations and centuries. So like we can be fucking with milk, but it is again a lot of white people still can't. But like I guess generally human beings
Aren't
like
supposed to,
aren't supposed to. I guess
That's so funny that we really are just like poisonous, infectious cordyceps on the world.
Yeah.
Not me, dude. I'm Irish.
Oh yeah, no, they fine.
Yeah, but
I'm mostly German, dude.
Hey, I got something for y'all. Y'all see something, Raven?
Oh,
yeah, always.
Okay, this is just it's definitely a theme of putting on airs, but I feel like it's been a theme of WellRED, just the WellRED boys forever, that just the past be something else. I mean, just anytime you think the past couldn't be more Raven, here come the past. This is a clip. I got it from a guy named Treehouse Detective, and I suggest everybody follow him. He's awesome. His whole deal on Instagram is just deep diving into things that you would never think of. And I love that stuff. And this is about why cartoons always wear white gloves. Enjoy.
The reason why cartoon characters wear white gloves is way more disturbing than you think. So everybody's familiar with this very specific style of white glove that a ton of classic cartoon characters wear, but not many people really question why they're wearing the gloves. Why do they wear the gloves? Well, a lot of people will tell you it's so the character's hands can stand out from their darker bodies, which made it easier for animators to make them more expressive and to better convey the things that they were doing with their hands. And while that's technically true, it's only half of the story, and it leaves out a very important and very disturbing detail. Cartoon characters wear white gloves so that their hands stand out against their black bodies because blackface minstrel actors from the 1920s and 30s wore white gloves so that their hands would stand out against the black paint on their faces. Because many...
Ain't that Raven? Ain't that just so supremely Raven?
It's always racism, dude. Every time.
I knew that because I once saw a video like that was explaining that that's all Mickey and Minnie were.
Yeah, they are. They
were drawn
minstrels.
as minstrel.
Goofy too.
And, God damn, dude. I mean, that's wild.
Goofy, if you think about him, he might be the most overt one because he also is like dumb and ignorant and fucking, and that's what separated the minstrel character from just a regular blackface person, is that they had to be dumb, they had to be lazy, unless it was the woman, and then then the Mamie, she was like doing everything. But like, it's so wild. We've talked about it a little bit on POA, but like, and I know y'all have read the book The Comedians by Cliff Nesterhoff, and if anybody out there hasn't, it's the book I've probably promoted that book more than I have any book I've ever written, because I think it's the best book ever written on comedy. Bob Hope used to just go up in blackface, but just do his act. Like he wouldn't do minstrel stuff. He would just go up and do his act. And everybody was like, why are you doing that? And he's like, because you're supposed to. Actors wear, what do you mean? Actors wear blackface. Like it was just, so like, that's the crazy part to me, is like, I understand if you're wearing it, doing a character. I mean, it's wrong. It's horribly racist, but like literally they were just like, we got to put burnt cork on our face. Otherwise people won't take us seriously as a comedian. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is.
My opening joke.
Isn't it? You said like the origin of blackface was all like making fun of black people, right?
Of course.
Right.
And it was also like, we want to have black entertainment.
Popular because of how Raven the past was and everything, that eventually, because that was so popular, they just were doing everything in blackface, like just because, even if it wasn't the traditional minstrel show thing. Yeah,
it became a signifier of you're a performer. Like performers wore
blackface. Or you're a comedian.
Well, comedian. Yeah, I guess comedian more so than anything. But like, yeah, no, at first it was like, I mean, obviously the origins are, and this is easy to understand. They wanted there to be black entertainment, but they couldn't let
Right.
black people do it, so they would get white people to wear blackface. And then of course, Al Jolson did it in the movie, the
Jazz singer.
jazz singer or whatever. And
Isn't that the
eventually
first talkie ever?
first talkie. That's the
Mhm.
first talkie, which that's a segment for POA later on this month. I've actually been researching that movie quite a bit. It's really wild. Like, and the reason I say that is because I'd love to talk about it on here too. Like when that movie came out, the talkie. It's really wild how it's sort of like how old heads talk about YouTube even still now. When that talkie came out, like it's so obvious for us. It's like, yeah, that changed the game. That's going to be the new way. But those old silent stars were just like, this is a flash in the pan. This ain't ever going to be a thing. And they treated people that did talkies less than, like they were like, oh, that's not real. You're only a real actor if you can convey it without the words or whatever.
Content
Yeah,
versus stand up.
exactly.
It's literally
100%.
it
took
literally
way less
everything.
time, but like it was, it took what, 8 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
for people to almost be like, from people to go like, so is Trae a real stand up to
Right.
the fucking liberal redneck?
Right.
but
I mean, it's a shit 8 months, but it was like,
Well, that's what-
am I shortening it?
I don't know, but that's what Roy was saying at the time, and he was right because I was all like, sort of in my head about it or whatever, and I talked to him about it, and he was like, dude, this is what always happens. This is no different. And it's true, like what Corey just said, silent films and talkies, but also radio to TV,
Yep.
The internet in general, and that YouTube, and like
and vaudeville to radio, vaudeville to radio.
Any of that, every time, even no matter how many times it's proven wrong, every time that happens, there are people going like, this is just some fad bullshit that isn't going to take, and then it becomes the new norm eventually. I mean, sometimes I guess
I think
not
it's because
every
of who
fad
does it.
makes it, but
Or who rises in it often in the beginning.
That's true.
Because it often is like some lowest common. I mean, the people you were parodying were just fucking dipshits by a truck.
right.
Like and a lot of them like took off. Some of them like got. I mean, that one dude that we always complain about, and I always forget his name, which don't tell me. Thank God I've forgotten it. Who started out literally just lip syncing. I mean, he did it to one of my jokes.
Oh yeah.
I think that like that probably, maybe not with the talkies, but there's been a lot of examples of like, yeah, people who weren't good enough or didn't have access to the right stuff. Like there's a few, probably half or more people who were like, and then old curmudgeons like me kind of hold them up as the excuse to shit on it.
Exactly.
But the thing is,
Like Southern Mama is content and Woodwood Jr. is stand up. And then you fast forward a few years, Southern Mama is out of the game, all but out of the game because he sucks.
You still have to hit.
right. But let me ask you this. I know I'm the one that just said, oh, it happens every time, and it does happen every time. And this is what I'm in the current era that it's happening in right now. So, of course, I would say something like this. But sincerely, though, hear me out. I feel like, when we went from silent films to talkies, there are always like silent film stars who were like beautiful and elegant or whatever, but you never heard them speak. And as soon as I turn the microphone on, they're like, oh, you go across the room and bring me the Lord's overhead. They were like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, obviously that ain't going to work.
Marion Davies.
So then people who did hit at talking,
yeah,
in addition to looking
good,
beautiful and having the physicality or whatever, now they have a broader skill set.
Right.
And they're the ones hitting now than before. Radio, face for radio, crush on the radio, be a fucking goblin.
Ghoul.
Yeah, right. And, or whatever.
Howard Stern, Imus,
TV takes over, and you got to hit in more ways or whatnot. And so you're forced out. So it's like, normally, I feel like these advances lead to like a broadening of the talent that's represented. But I feel like I think we would all agree that in like the current era, as Drew pointed out, in at least many, many ways, it's been the exact opposite. It's people make one pose or do one dance or lip sync other shit or do whatever. And that's all they do and become millionaires and super famous and shit. So it's like,
and I'm saying, I think
they don't stick around.
Direction,
I have two counterpoints, I guess, to make. I think that did happen at first. I think that's starting to go away a little. So and I can't help but wonder if that happened at first in other worlds, back in the day.
Right, and
Maybe
we
they
just don't
never
remember
did.
because we weren't there, and that
No,
didn't
it
lie.
sure
Right.
did.
But
They would have.
too, I do think there's a broadening of it. I mean, I think I suffer from an inability to make content. I think I'm a very, very, very good stand-up comedian. I think I'm even better than I was when we first started to break. Like, to the point that I feel like it shocks people sometimes at how good I am at stand-up comedy, because I am so mediocre on the internet. So I definitely think there's a broadening, but content itself and the platform and the medium is so clout and attention driven
Yes.
that there's no depth. We have a
Right.
shallow but broad
It's all hot takes.
talent pool now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the people involved in it are all shallow, but I mean, do you not feel frustrated that people who do know you know a shallow version of you? Don't you think that happens sometimes? If people don't follow the podcast and your stand up, they're like,
Yeah, it happens
even
all
when
the
you
time.
stopped
Really.
talking with as thick of an accent,
Right.
and you just got in the Jeep and you stopped talking about, we're back on my fucking porch, boy. Like, people were like, so he was faking it the whole time. It's like there's a shallowness, but the broadness, I think we are absolutely seeing. I mean, dude, the Paul brothers are very broadly talented. They're just so shallow.
They're good at what they. I mean, the
Does that
thing
make sense to what I'm
the
saying?
thing
Like,
they're
broadness,
yeah.
we got it in spades.
Unfortunately, the
We have
thing
no
they
depth
are
anymore.
right. Unfortunately, the thing that they are undeniably the best at is creating controversy and getting clicks based on a lot of hate. But I will tell you right now,
But I'm
like,
saying the ability to act, do flips,
yeah,
wrestle.
no.
fight.
That's what I was
think
going to say.
breadth is on the internet in spades. I think that we lack any depth.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and like it's upsetting because, like, there's some people that, like, their whole goal is just to be famous on the internet and monetize their stuff and get money that way or whatever. And I know Trae feels this way, and I know you feel this way. Everything I do on the internet is just to stay relevant, so hopefully people will buy tickets to see my shows, or I'll get cast in a movie, or you know what I'm saying, so that they can see my other stuff that I do. That, not that I'm not proud of the characters I create on the internet, but they're all basically just, in my mind, auditions for the world of, look what else I can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to find this kid, and someone else is popping up because I typed in TikTok or movie deal and some other assholes popping up. There's this kid who did sketches for a while, and now and then he made his own movie. He fundraised it, whatever. And then there was a bidding war after it premiered at this film festival.
Good for him.
I think that we're going to start seeing what you just described, Trae, just in terms of, like, it actually will broaden and has broadened the talent pool, and we will see it. It's just that the internet is not built, like I said, to mine for depth. And so people are just going to have to do that on their own. Like, this kid could have ridden out what he had going on the internet. I'm certain of it, with his YouTube channel or whatever. Wish I could find him and find his name.
Back in the day,
made a lot of money. He just wanted to add the depth.
Back in the day, they made stars, and now they want you to make yourself first before they will have you. And, like, a big example is, like, Louis B. Mayer, one of his, like, the final year of his life, when he's trying to cement his legacy after Irvin Thalberg, his creative partner and like outright genius, had died. He straight up said, he's like, at Metro Goldwyn Mayer, you don't have to have, you just have to have a look. We do the rest. He's like, here's what I do. He's like, I see someone, and if they got a face I like, I put it on screen. And if it tests well on the screen, acting, singing, whatever, he goes, we can figure all that out, and he's like, what he said was, stars aren't born, they're made, right? And nowadays it's almost the complete opposite, where it's like, they're not going out looking for an unknown to mold. They're looking for someone who already has built their following so that they can bring that following to their project. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a wider or a bigger thing now. Who am I to question Louis B. Mayer? But it's like, I do think that we all know that story, that Hollywood story. And again, it still happens. Sometimes we've talked about this before, the cliche of, fucking limousine pulls up, window rolls down, cigar smoke comes out, fucking Jennifer Lawrence gets pointed at by an old Jewish guy, and then it happens. And that's been happening since Hollywood was, first a thing. But, like, the whole idea of, like, all that matters is the look. The rest of it will make it work. But, like,
It didn't always work out.
I was about to say, I know, and I guess I'm disproving my own point here because I know that Gal Gadot is a huge star,
Right.
but it's like, I mean, dude, come on. Like
She knows something is all there is.
Beautiful. One of the most beautiful women alive. But so she's got the look in spades, but I mean, she does not hit at acting and stuff. So, but again, she's massive. But like you said, now, especially like pick something and sing or dance or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? If you at that point in time, like,
yeah, because it does kind of contradict what he said. Because we've talked about this before. Like, I can probably name 10 people that are currently stars, maybe 10 that I think would have also been stars in the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Hugh Jackman,
because like Hugh Jackman, I genuinely think Timberlake, a guy like Timberlake, would have been fine. Like but you had to be able to dance, sing, and act. You had to be able to do all of it. And or just one of it really well, because like obviously Brando couldn't do the other things, like, but most of the time, like Gene Kelly, dude, if you ever watch Gene Kelly
crazy.
It's unbelievable. And the way that he would practice, man, like it's like they talked about when I guess Ed King or whatever laid down 10 separate tracks for the Freebird solo, and they were going to pick which one was the best, and they laid them all on top of each other, and there was not a millimeter of difference between any of the notes. I mean, Gene Kelly would practice until his feet bled, and it was like that, and also he could act, also he could sing, also he was very charming, he looked good on camera. You had to be able to do those fucking things, which, by the way, is why I really enjoyed the movie Hail Caesar, because the Coen brothers forced Channing Tatum and a bunch of people to do that type of shit, which really hit for me. But yeah, like you really had to do it all back then. Oh, I think who? I think Tom Holland would have been okay back then, especially because he's a teeny tiny person. Robert Downey Jr. probably would have been okay back then too. He can do all that stuff.
I'm still trying to find this kid's name, and it's driving me crazy that I can't find it.
Yeah, no, look, I see people all the time on social media that I'm like, God damn, that is a crazy talented person or whatever. And there's a ton of that, and a ton of them do also hit, but there is still also I also see things all the time that I then find out they've got a crazy following or whatever, and I'm like, bro,
what is going on?
Like for that, what even fucking is that?
But there were people making good money, I think. So let's stay inside the world we're talking about, like stand up to the internet and how the industry's changed. I think there were people making really good money back before the internet mattered, where we would be like that. I mean, I can remember opening for some of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, damn, is that all you got to do?
Yeah. Yeah. There was a time where, like, it felt like if you popped during the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, you were just grandfathered into being able to be allowed to hit forever, like in perpetuity. And I feel like that doesn't exist anymore. Like, there's no more of a grandfather to that. Like, dude, one of the biggest examples, I think, of he clearly got dirt on people is like Andy Dick still pop up and stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like because he popped at a time where he got famous, in this time where they go, okay, now you're a famous person. You're in this bubble of famous people, and you forever will be in this bubble of famous people from now until you die. Is what I'm saying making sense?
Yeah, definitely. Right. You did. Yeah. It used to be. Well, it goes back to the whole thing about a monoculture and stuff. Like there used to be a monoculture. So it's like, if you were famous, like things like me, I don't think really existed for most of that time. Maybe in music, because there were always like niche genres of music with its own fan bases and stuff, maybe. But in the world of like comedy and, TV and film or any of that shit, if you were like at all famous, you were just famous, like people, because everybody was watching
and
the
broadly
same shit.
Famous.
Everybody was watching the same stuff, had the same reference points and all that shit, and that's been gone for a long time. And like you were talking about, and I don't mean to disrespect to this dude at all, because he was a nice and funny guy, and maybe this would still be the case, I don't know. But at Side Splitters Comedy Club in Knoxville, when I was starting in like 2011 or whatever, this is years after Seinfeld ended, right? And the guy that played Kenny Banya on Seinfeld, right?
Yeah.
Came through every year and would sell out every show. The club would be packed all weekend, right? And it's like,
because he's Kenny Bania.
Yeah, I know Seinfeld is massive, but still, it's like I don't think that type of thing, however you want to categorize that. I don't think that type of thing it happens or can happen anymore. I don't.
No, it don't. I mean,
he's like a somewhat recurring, side character that hit for people or
and
whatever,
was
but
a
not
stand-up comic, which
and,
helps.
Yeah, he had been a stand-up comic, but I don't think that. I mean, I don't think that people that were going to those shows unless they had seen him before. But you know what I mean? They weren't going because they were like, "Oh, I know that this guy was a stand-up already." And
no. I just mean
like
that
and I respect
helped.
that about.
I'm just saying it helped that he portrayed a stand-up comedian on the show. Like it just in a way helped that he was a stand-up comic.
Right. But anyway, I don't think that. I'm trying to even think of a comparison to make there's in the modern day.
People. Well, no, you can't because I was going to say it's like. I wanted to say right after Parks and Rec, Nick Offerman started doing stand-up tours and stuff, and people went, but he was and that was the thing that broke him. I mean, he was already hitting, but him playing that character really made him a thing, and now he does spoken word tours and stuff. But he's also he really is funny, he really is funny and a great actor or whatever.
Let me ask you, I think I maybe have thought of one. Because again, at the time I was doing this, Seinfeld had been off the air for 13 years or whatever at that point in time. Do you think that Stevie from Eastbound and Down
could do that?
Who was absolutely fucking hilarious on that show. But do you think if he booked a weekend at Go Bananas in Cincinnati or whatever?
Yeah, I think he'd do well.
He'd have to put a clip or two out,
of course,
for it to do well. Yeah. But if you put a clip or two out of him doing stand up and it was good, I think he would do really well.
Superimposed with him being Stevie, you got to throw the Stevie clips in there. But yeah, that show, I think obviously nothing's ever gonna be as big as Seinfeld again. But I think Eastbound and Down is enough of a cultural phenomenon for that guy to for sure. And yeah, you know what's funny? I've only ever seen him in one other thing.
I know that's why I picked him out, is because I was trying to think of somebody that hit real hard but
one thing.
And then I haven't seen him in a while and I didn't know what he was up to.
He had a small part in Righteous Gemstones and he nailed it.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, I mean he's murdered on that show. He also was arguably the second lead, not lead, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was Kenny's. Yeah, for sure.
So even
then, Righteous Gemstones?
I'm not caught up on it.
Season, I saw the ones before that. If you're talking about the most recent season, then no, I haven't seen it yet.
That's the one that he's in. Yeah.
So actually, even that now it's more like Clegg. Okay.
Yeah,
Clegg,
which he's done for. I'm pretty sure.
What the actor did he die or something?
No, I think honestly he may have died, but him and Danny McBride apparently had a huge falling out, and
because he was part of their crew, right?
He was part of their crew. I think he might have died, dude. Let me look it up, but he was part of their crew, and I think he went on some tyrants.
So removing all that, taking all that out.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Let's pretend he's not and didn't have all these publicized troubles and all this shit. Just from being Clegg on that show.
He could have for a minute.
Not Stevie. Well, I mean now, if Clegg was alive and booked a weekend at Go Bananas in Cincinnati, would he fill it up?
It wouldn't go as well as Stevie's. I think he would have I think that
that's a better analogy. Yeah, Stevie would be like saying Kramer before he did the whole N-word thing, and it's like, well, yeah, he was.
Of course,
yes,
I think that
it's not the same thing.
Also, Michael Richards was on Fridays before that, and but I think that the staff and the owners would not be upset at the numbers, but I think that it wouldn't be a thing that he could do, once a quarter or something, especially. And again, there's a big component of this. What's the act like? If the act is good, if you can get them out there and then the act is good, yeah, they'll come back. But they'll only come see you once for novelty purposes because, you know what I mean? Because once they've seen we saw Clegg, but the show was terrible. If the only good part is seeing Clegg, well, you've already done that, which is why frankly, I never Paulie Shore was one of these dudes, right? Where he did movies and stuff. He was a legit movie star in the 90s.
He was a cultural phenomenon in 1993. He was one of the faces of the early 90s.
Absolutely. But he his stand-up is abysmal. It is terrible. And what? Am I not supposed to say this?
No, I obviously I wasn't there and I don't know, but I've heard like comics say that back in that time, because I get he was doing stand up even then or whatever. I reckon, you know, being Mitzi's son and stuff. And I've heard people say that it's like it was, you know, good or that it used to like hit or whatever. But then
Well, maybe it was,
is
but
talk
now
about
just
how he
talks
used to
about, hey,
be
I'm Paulie
famous
Moore.
and how it's bullshit
yeah.
that he's not. Yeah, well, that and to me, it's like he just seems like bitter and stuff, and that so that's like
That's. I'm sure there was a time he was fine, but I don't know why people keep going to those shows just to hear him be like, "Hey, remember when I did Encino Man?" You know what I mean? Like that's a thing you do once, and then you don't do that anymore. Also, he's a bit rude to people. Like I wouldn't be talking shit about him if I thought he was otherwise a good person, but like he's been a very terrible person to people I know. But yeah, like that type of shit.
right, but. You know, well, again, he was a huge star though.
He
'Cause you
was.
said you were like, if you don't hit, they won't come back. But it's like, I mean,
Now they kind of do though.
yeah, but maybe not every time. I don't know. Who the hell knows, dude?
We're never gonna figure it out.
You can't,
We're never gonna
right,
figure it out.
It's such an ethereal, unknowable thing how any of this shit fucking works. So I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know shit. Drew, do you know?
Buddy, I know the least.
Yeah.
I'm the least knowing.
Yeah.
I'm
check.
always surprised anyone shows up.
Listen how dumb this is. So we went to Gatlinburg this weekend and
Starts off pretty dumb.
Yep. All right. Well, first off, the side of the family I was talking about, my sister-in-law, I love them. They're great. But the thing about them is that they have no capability to plan anything whatsoever. And they will decide, hey, we're doing this big family thing, and then give you 10 hours notice. You know what I mean? Like we're having so-and-so's birthday. So it's big bash. It's tonight. And it's like, okay, we've all got kids and we've all got stuff to do, but we don't want to look like dicks. We're going to be there. Well, this time it was going to Gatlinburg. So we get a 24-hour notice to not only go to this birthday party, but like you got to book a hotel. You got to do all this stuff, whatever. So I'm like, Amber's like, look, I know that you got stuff to do this weekend. I know you got that show on Saturday, but like we can just go up Friday night and we can stay till about 2 on Saturday and we'll be able to go to the water park with them and that'll make them happy and then we'll leave. And I was like, bet, that's fine, no problem. Well, we get there. Me and Amber get our own separate place because I'm not trying to be in with a bunch of people. And we get to their place and like it's 3 families like all crammed into this one spot. And it is at this moment I realize what they've done is they have agreed to go to a timeshare meeting, right? They've agreed to go to a timeshare meeting so that they're like, yo, man, it's great. We got the whole weekend for $100. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a pretty big catch to all that, right? So they tell us we come up then after Amber gets off work. So we don't even get to Gatlinburg until like 8:30 on Friday night. I go to the arcade, hang out with the birthday boy, get a little drunk, whatever. We wake up and our whole thing is at 12, they said, we'll go to the water park before y'all leave at 2. And I was like, okay. So we're like at 12, we'll go there. We'll go to the water park. Bane will be all happy, you know, whatever. Well, we get there and they're like, oh, right. We have to go sit at that timeshare meeting at 1:30. And we're like, oh, and they're like, and we can't go to the water park until after we go to the timeshare meeting because that's part of the deal. And so we're like, okay, well, we're leaving because I have to go. So
y'all drove up and got there at 8:30 on Friday night, and we're leaving to drive back home at like barely after lunchtime the next day.
Yeah, it was all stupid. It was all stupid. But I did this so that because, everybody, I'll hear the chirps of like, Corey don't ever do nothing. He don't ever whatever. But like, I work on the weekends. Like I try, like I've told these people a million times. I was like, if I worked third shift at the factory, no one would ever question why I wasn't at a 9 p.m. party. No one would ever question it. They'd be like, well, he works third shift. But because of what we do, they can't get it across their heads. And that's whatever. It's a weird job, But I was like, no, I'm going to do both. I said, if all I can be there for is to give him his present and we'll swim for 2 hours, that'll be fine. But because they don't plan anything or think about it, they're either and I love them. They're either really stupid and don't know how time is work, or they're way smarter than all of us. And they actually do see time as spatial, like Einstein said that we're supposed to. You know what I mean? Because to them, we have a thing at 1:30 and we were supposed to be swimming from 12 to 2. In their mind, both of those things can happen at the same time. I don't know how they think that, but they do. So we leave, right? And Amber's like, I hope you're not mad. I was like, baby, I'm not mad. We stopped and went to the old mill and got something to eat. I said, hey, listen, we took a family trip to Gatlinburg. It didn't go the way we were supposed to, but we showed up. We did the thing. Bane had a lot of fun. Now we're going back home and I'll do my show. Dude, they called later and they go to the fucking timeshare meeting, which takes like an hour and a half, right? And the dude goes, he's like, all right, thanks for having us. We're not going to get a timeshare, but we would like our passes for the water park. And they're like, okay. So they hand this guy 4 passes to the water park. And he's like, well, I need more than that. And they're like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we've got, but they go, sir, how many people are in your place? And he's like, well, we got Mama, Papa, these kids, blah, blah, blah. They're like, sir, this is for one family. A family consists of that's a term for 4 people. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like anyone with your last name or whatever. And they're like, well, this is how many people we got. This is how many water park passes we need. The whole trip was based around the water park, and they ended up not giving them any tickets, and they just had to fucking drive home. So they got nothing because they didn't understand what timeshare rules meant, right?
Did they get kicked out?
They did. They were already on their last day of their stay anyway, so it was fine. But I'm pretty sure they had told him, like, really, we could be asking y'all for some money because it was supposed to be you get $100 for the weekend, but that's like per family, and y'all have just crammed 19 people into this place. So, anyways, it's because
did they used to be very poor? What, this is like us with the tires? Is this just how they travel?
Maybe. No, it's just, to me, it comes down to they don't plan nothing and they don't think nothing ahead, and
I don't
nobody
know. I
reads
think it took some planning to get 19 people to one goddamn timeshare and then to the presentation on time.
Well, none of them have nothing else to do. You know what I mean? The mama and papa don't do nothing. And then I'm just saying, and again, I love these people, but like, they're always making fun of me because I'm a stickler for like being punctual and like saying, hey, if we're going to do this is going to take 2 hours, so we can't plan this and that. And they're always like, oh, just go with the flow. Corey, if you just go with the flow more. And so, yeah, admittedly, it was nice to see that this is what happens when you go with the goddamn flow. You don't get to go to the fucking water park.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought that timeshares were had long since become a cliche joke for an obvious scam that you don't fuck with, as of 15, 20 years ago, I thought.
Oh, longer than that.
Me and Andy got a Vegas weekend for $100, and you had to go to one meeting, and they've hounded us, and then they extended it twice, but we moved, and then we had the kid, like a bunch of stuff happened, but I felt like, and I still feel like, I am impervious to that.
Sure.
I will sit in there. I'll read that contract. I'll sit in there. And the moment I'm allowed to leave, I'm going to be like, it says right here, it's an hour long. This is kidnapping. You either call the cops or get me out of this fucking room.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I could maybe do that too. Although I've said famously, like, I won't go near the Scientology building because they've taken better man than me. And that's certainly true of timeshares. But like Amber, the whole time, I was sitting in there dogging them about it because I was having to explain to them what a timeshare was. Like, they were like, they were, we've heard of it, but so I'm explaining them the whole fucking thing. And they're like, so you don't own it? I was like, no, fuck no, And then Amber was like, see, Corey would never do this. He would just spend more money so he didn't have to sit through that thing. And I was like, yeah,
Amen.
Yes, I would. I was like, and by the way, I understand if you don't have the money to do that, but yes, of course I would. That is what the point of money is to not have to do inconvenient shit. That's exactly the point of, like, money is for letting me do a thing that is better than the thing if I didn't have that money. So you're goddamn right. I would have just bought tickets to the fucking water park.
I also am, for me, it's that I'm the opposite of Drew, and that like you can get me to agree to something just because that's how badly I want it to stop.
Yeah.
Like, I want this to be over so much
that,
like, fine, fuck it, whatever. I'll just give you what you want. And that's like, and I know that, and that's why those situations are like complete nightmares for me that I avoid at all costs.
For sure. Oh, I would have bought a timeshare.
My other plan too, I'm buying nothing but tires in the rotisserie chicken. My other plan was if there was no like hour commitment, like if they could just keep me there indefinitely, is I just start telling everybody in there why they ought not buy it until they let me leave.
Absolutely. My buddy Ethan, whenever he'd go to the principal's office, when the principal's trying to tell him how much he was in trouble, he would just start punching himself in the nose until he bled. And he's just like, you really going to do this to a crazy person? And they just let him leave.
Jesus Christ. Can't argue with the
He's not
results,
doing. He's not doing well, boy.
You don't say. Perhaps you can argue. Perhaps you can argue with that. All right. Well, out of time this week, I believe. Let me tell y'all, come see me in Ohio this weekend, all over the state of Ohio. Next weekend, all over the state of Virginia. And then not all that long after that, there's like Oklahoma City, Dallas, Nashville with Corey and Drew at the end of the year at Zany's and right before Christmas. Also, before that, I forgot Madison, Milwaukee, and then a bunch of places in 2026, Sacramento, South Carolina, Wilmington, Vermont's coming up, a bunch of places. So go to TraeCrowder.com, check out my dates and come. Oh, also Largo in Los Angeles, November 19th. So please, if you're in the LA area, come to that. So
Nice.
Yeah. TraeCrowder.com. All right. Go ahead. Warnigans.
Drew.
Oh, I thought Corey was singing, dude. I was literally like,
Well, I'm not going to sing until you tell your stuff.
Oh, I'm supposed to be at the Big Diamond Comedy Festival, Sam Talent's Comedy Festival in Northwest Arkansas. But the aforementioned car issues I've been having, because I never bought a flight and blah, blah, blah. Guys, there's like a 50% chance I'm not going to be there. And then I'm taking most of November off.
Okay, guys. So I have a bunch of books to read here, as you can see, preparing for my new podcast, 4 Beers. But you can get a sample teaser episode right now at WeLoveCorey.com, where you can find all my other stuff. And go to Cameo and get a cameo for me. People are already putting their video requests in for the holidays because my queue gets very long and I can only accept so many because the Buttercream Dream can only scream so much without losing his voice. So cameo.com/Corey Ryan Forrester. Thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew.
Skew.
Fart.
Fart.
But we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. We collected from our love of Downton Abbey. We collected, we found out we're both so fancy. Hey, what's the difference between rednecks and royal families? Only money, cause they both have sex with family. Ew. Putting on airs. What other rednecks to talk about foreign affairs? Laughing so hard that we end up falling out our chairs. Sir Trae, Sir Corey, oh what a pair. High class topics with a redneck flair. Oh yeah. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Okay, it's Team Squirrel or Team Trae. Oh yeah, we keeping it basic. He thinks that the squirrels at Corey's mom's house are racist. And you know squirrels live in the same place for generations. So Trae, you better count your days and you better count your blessings. Cause all the squirrels that you ran over, that you think are nameless, faceless, their families are getting together and plotting on you from the attic and basement. So even though Corey is dumb, fat, and bald, he knows how to avoid drama, don't get squirrels involved. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy,